Good evening and welcome into the lounge. Chances are, if you're a Penn State fan watching this right now, you're probably more dehydrated than a marathon runner. And those Bud Lights are hitting different with a season-opening statement road win. And there's plenty of reason to be psyched after looking at the landscape of Week 1, otherwise known as overreaction season. And guess what? We're about to take it up a notch because we're about to pave out your path to the college football playoff. Is this a prediction? Absolutely not. Because one, I'm not that bold, and two, I'm not that dumb, at least in my professional life anyways. But the path is important because Saturday was a massive hurdle. You get past a team who's a fixture in the Big Ten championship game. Since its creation in 2011, the Badgers have been in it 6 of the 10 times. I know you have now beat them 5 straight times, but that environment after the season that the Nittany Lions just had, throw on some Pampers because that's a big boy win right there. But let's keep perspective here. Penn State is not going to go undefeated and cruise the college football playoff like Alabama or any of that. I'm not saying that. Let's not get it twisted. What I am saying is that they can maneuver and, in a way, manipulate their road into the show. But it has to be under certain circumstances. After this week, they are knocking on the door of the top 10. North Carolina, Wisconsin, Miami, LSU, and Indiana all lost. All teams above the Nittany Lions. Auburn comes to town in a couple weeks. They were unranked to start the season. Expect them to be top 25 bound by the time the whiteout game hits. If Penn State can win that one, I think this path I'm about to lay out officially begins. So the man who predicts everything correctly to my left, Dan Tomaso, says Ball State trap game, along with the true Penn State pessimist. I say let's give them the smallest font possible because I'm not worried. So if they take down Auburn, the road really begins and ends with 2 games, Iowa and Ohio State. Now here's where I'm realistic. I'm not going to be the crazy guy that says they're winning both of those because they're both on the road and that's asking too much. What I am saying, take home 1. Win one of those 2 games, because if you win one, the other loss can be forgiven. And while you also need one of those is to not lose both the reputation's sake. Both of those teams are going to be in this thing at the end. If you lose both, you won't be. But here's where my thing goes a little off the rails. Enters a little bit of Loopyville. My big caveat is I need something to happen that's never happened before. Just one small detail I forgot to leave out. Because only does this rationale make sense if they lose to Iowa or Ohio State. It's more than likely they'll trip up again to a team who's inferior because that's just the Penn State experience. So, that being said, there has never been a 2-loss team to make the college football playoff. I need this to be the year. I need the rest of the field to fall apart like The Office after Michael Scott left. I need this to be the most down year in the history of the playoff. That's not asking too much, right? But I do have good news. I have a comparison to show you it's possible. This was before the college football playoff, but that's the thing, now that it was. Let's go back to 2007. The LSU Tigers with 2 losses. They actually didn't have the luxury of being one of the last 4. They had to be one of the last 2 with no playoff back then. A 2-loss team that not only made the game, but won the title. So how did they do it? Well, their 2 losses, one to a top 25 team in Kentucky, and the other an unranked opponent. The same thing I would be asking for here. Now, they also beat 5 top 25 teams, including 2 top 10 teams, hence why they were given the nod and deserved the chance. But hey, Penn State already has taken down 1 near that range. And I know there's a 95% chance I even brought this whole thing up and it'll blow up in my face one day. But did you watch the first weekend? The rest of the Big Ten looks like the produce in my fridge. The Illini lost to a team called the Roadrunners. It's wide open, man. I know Penn State is coming off one of their worst years in recent history, but this team is dripping in talent that last year's squad didn't have 5% of. We should raise that bar up higher again. There was a time it was championship or bust around these parts. And whether this team is up to turn heads or destined to make me look like a fool, adding pressure isn't always a bad thing. Just take a little bit of help to get there. Okay, a lot of help to get there. To which I say, Ball State, don't you dare. That's it for the lounge. We'll be right back.